while our uncle is torturing my life.
The girl who talked to the dead. Amara was 22 years old, but life had never given her the chance to be young. When she was only 8 years old, she lost both of her parents. Their deaths left her completely alone in the world. Since she had no one else to care for her, she was sent to live with her uncle and his wife in a small village. At first, everyone thought her uncle and his wife would raise her like their own daughter. Unfortunately, that was not what happened. As the years passed, Amara became nothing more than a servant in their house. Every morning, while the rest of the village was still asleep, Amara would wake up before sunrise. She would sweep the compound, wash dishes, fetch water from a distant stream, clean clothes, prepare meals, and care for the animals. Even when she was sick, her aunt showed no mercy. There were days when Amara struggled to stand because of fever, yet she was still forced to carry heavy buckets of water. There were nights when she was denied food for the smallest mistakes. Sometimes her aunt would beat her for things she had never done. The worst part was that her uncle never stopped it. He watched everything happen and remained silent. His silence hurt more than the beatings. Amara loved school, but her aunt hated seeing her study. Whenever she found Amara reading, she would insult her and tell her education was a waste of time. Because of years of interruptions, Amara was still struggling through JSS2 even though she was already 22 years old. One day she scored the highest mark in her class. Instead of being proud, her aunt became furious. That evening she beat Amara so badly that bruises covered her arms and face. As if that was not enough, she threw her outside to sleep. Rain poured from the sky while Amara sat beneath a tree, trembling from cold and pain. For years she had endured suffering without complaint, but that night something inside her finally broke. She looked up at the dark sky and cried, "Mama, where are you?" Tears streamed down her face. "Papa, why did you leave me?" The rain continued to fall. "Please come back. Please." There was no answer. Only thunder. Days later, while returning from hawking fruits, Amara took a shortcut through an abandoned path near the forest. As she walked, something unusual caught her attention. Partly buried beneath the soil was a strange stone covered in ancient carvings. The symbols looked old and mysterious. For reasons she could not explain, she felt drawn to it. She picked it up. The moment her fingers touched the stone, a strange chill ran through her body. For a second, she thought she heard someone whisper her name. She quickly looked around. Nobody was there. Feeling uneasy, she carried the stone home. That night, her aunt accused her of stealing money. Amara denied it, but her aunt refused to listen. After another brutal beating, she was thrown outside again. Crying, she sat alone beneath the stars and held the carved stone tightly against her chest. Then something strange happened. The wind stopped blowing. The insects stopped making noise. The entire world became silent. Amara slowly looked up. Far away, standing near a tree, was a pale woman dressed in white. The woman wasn't moving. She was simply watching. Fear shot through Amara's body. She blinked. The woman disappeared. Amara convinced herself she had imagined it. But the following night, when she held the stone again, she saw another figure. Then another. And another. Ghosts. They were everywhere. Some wandered through the village roads. Some stood silently beside old buildings. Others watched from the darkness. For the first time in her life, Amara realized she was seeing the dead. Night after night, the visions continued. Then one evening, she heard a voice she had not heard in 14 years. Amara. Her heart stopped. She knew that voice. Slowly, she turned around. Standing behind her was a beautiful woman glowing softly beneath the moonlight. Tears immediately filled Amara's eyes. It was her mother. For a moment she could not speak. She simply stared. Then she burst into tears. "Mama." The spirit smiled. "My daughter." Amara ran toward her. Although the embrace felt cold, it was the first time she had felt loved in years. From that night onward, Amara spoke with her mother whenever she held the stone. Soon her father's spirit appeared as well. Together they comforted her. They encouraged her. They reminded her that she was stronger than she believed. For the first time since childhood, Amara felt hope. But the peace did not last. One evening, while speaking with her parents in the forest, she noticed something unusual. Both spirits looked frightened. Amara had never seen fear on their faces before. She asked what was wrong. Her father hesitated before speaking. Then he revealed a secret that shattered her world. Her parents had not died in an accident. They had been murdered. Amara could hardly breathe. Her father explained that her uncle had betrayed them many years ago. Greed had led him to work with dangerous men who wanted control of their land and property. Her uncle's betrayal had ultimately led to their deaths. The truth devastated Amara. Everything suddenly made sense. The guilt, the silence, the cruelty. Before she could ask another question, her mother's expression changed. She stared into the darkness behind Amara. Fear filled her eyes. Amara turned around. At first she saw nothing. Then two glowing eyes appeared among the trees. A massive shadow slowly emerged from the darkness. It was taller than any human. Its body seemed to be made entirely of black smoke. Its smile stretched unnaturally wide across its face. Even the spirits looked terrified. Amara's father shouted for her to run. Without hesitation, she fled. The creature followed. It did not walk. It glided silently through the darkness. Its whispers echoed through the forest, calling her name. The chase continued until the spirits of her parents placed themselves between Amara and the creature. The shadow finally retreated. But it did not disappear. It simply watched, waiting. Over the following weeks, strange things began happening inside her uncle's house. Doors slammed on their own. Whispers echoed through empty rooms. Mirrors cracked without explanation. Her aunt started seeing terrifying faces staring back at her. Her uncle heard voices calling him every night. The guilt he had buried for years was finally catching up to him. Eventually, he could no longer endure it. One night the ghost of Amara's father appeared before him. The terrified man collapsed to his knees. The spirit demanded the truth. And for the first time in years, her uncle confessed everything. The following day he publicly admitted his crimes before the villagers. Everyone was shocked. His secret was finally exposed. Soon afterward, he was arrested. His wife lost everything she had built through cruelty and greed. At last, Amara was free. Months later, she moved to another town and began rebuilding her life. She returned to school. She made friends. She finally experienced the happiness she had been denied for so many years. One evening, as the sun set beyond the horizon, Amara sat beneath a large tree holding the carved stone. She smiled softly and whispered a thank you to her parents. A gentle breeze touched her face. For a moment she felt complete peace.
Enjoyed this story? Then don't forget to subscribe to Juju's Tales for more emotional, shocking, and suspense-filled 3D animated stories that will keep you glued to your screen. Every story has a lesson. Every tale has a secret. Like, comment, subscribe, and join the family for more unforgettable stories every week.